Welcome back, everyone, to the Muslim Ballers podcast. We're leveling up on you from our humble beginnings of last year, sitting in our bedrooms on Zoom. Now we're in the real thing. Now we're in the studio. Let's go. Dab me up on that one, boy.
Yes, sir.
Let's go. We're here, and we're so excited for the 2023 content that we're going to produce for y'all. Starting out with a bang for this first episode. But yeah, we can kind of just jump right into it with my co-host, Raza Ali.
Yeah, I couldn't have put it any better than you, Waji. Thank you so much for introducing us. This is the start of 2023 fantasy football season. Anyone that's watching, we're very welcome to have you. Just to let you know, so to give some context, we didn't finish last season off with closure. So we kind of left it on a cliffhanger. So before we kind of jump into talking about the 2023 season, I just wanted to take a quick moment to give the matchup from last year, the finals matchup, which was Abbas versus Salik. Just to quickly cover it, Salik was winning the matchup, I think, nearly by 30 points.
Yeah.
When Abbas kind of pulled away at the end there, I think, as well as with the Monday night game, he ended up pulling out a win. So I just wanted to give Abbas his flowers for a really good season. And he got the ring. He got the championship, as we can see here. So congratulations to you, Abbas. It was a really well-fought season, and you did a great job. Now, Waji, kind of moving on to talk about the 2023 season. We're super happy, super pumped. It's going to be a great season, hopefully, for everyone. So we always start off the season by talking about like our top projections for the season, right? Specifically fantasy. So just to give some context, our league is PPR, and we look at quarterbacks with 6 passing touchdown points.
Sure.
So let's start by talking a little bit about quarterbacks. Who are you thinking here is going to finish QB1 for the 2023 season?
QB1. I think that's a great question. QB1, probably for me, is Tua Tagovailoa, the Pacific Islander. Dude, like week 1, I know we're not judging like anything off of week 1. Week 1 can be flukes for all we know. But like he was QB1, 44 points. We had a glimpse of what he can do in Mike McDaniel's offense, year 2. Tua, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle. I feel like that's the trio. Me and Raza were discussing earlier that Tyreek can possibly hit 2K yards, and he was on track for that last season. So he can very much so do it this season if Tua is healthy. And then Jalen Waddle can easily get, like 1,000 as well. So I think I get flashbacks of like that Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp type of season, but even better low-key. So I'm really excited to see Tua kind of pop off this year.
Yeah, Tua's an interesting one because I feel like there's a lot of injury risk there, but even then people have been doubting him and he's still been performing. So I don't hate that pick at all.
Yeah.
I feel like normally someone would say someone like Jalen Hurts or Patrick Mahomes or one of these high-level QBs like Josh Allen, for example. But I'm going to keep it going with your trend a little bit here. I'm going to say that the Jacksonville Jaguars QB, Trevor Lawrence, the nice flowing hair man himself, will be the QB1 for this season. I just feel like the path is there for it to happen. He has all the weapons available to him, and he's coming off like his best season of his career, working with Doug Peterson, a Super Bowl coach. I just feel like everything is there and set up in line for him to do really well.
Yeah.
And I'm curious what you think as well. I feel like the QB1 is his to take.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good, bold take. I mean, dude, we all know it, bro. Like, Raza is like a Trevor Lawrence stan, bro. He's been shouting Trevor Lawrence's name since last year, beginning of last year. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the bold prediction from last year was that he would be dark horse MVP. And he was low-key right. I mean, I feel like that's a great bold prediction for this year. He has the weapons around him, Calvin Ridley, Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby. So, like, they got, like, the balance of the running and passing game. And then another year in Doug Peterson's offense, I feel like that's just that's a recipe for success. And Doug Peterson knows how to win. So it'll be really cool to see Trevor Lawrence, and I don't hate that bold prediction. I think moving on to running backs, I know this is like a pretty easy, like surefire, like this person will get like, running back 1. My Niners, baby. I think all of us think it's CMC, but I would say my bold prediction is Nick Chubb, actually. I think Deshaun Watson will take that step back to his normal self this year. They have weapons on the offense like Elijah Moore and Amari Cooper, and no one's behind Nick Chubb. Like, you see these big running backs like Austin Eckler. They got like Joshua Kelly kind of chipping in, or they got, CMC has Elijah Mitchell,
Yeah, right.
things like that. But like, there's no one behind this man, Nick Chubb. Like the next best person is Jerome Ford, bro. And I'm pretty sure that you could not tell me if that guy was black or white. Like, that's the whitest name ever, man.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's all jokes, bro. But like, honestly, like Nick Chubb, I think he could take number one running back this year. What about you?
Okay, yeah, I mean that's a good take. My only worry, with Nick Chubb, at least looking at our league, is PPR. Like, he doesn't make enough catches.
Okay.
I could see the route. Like,
That's valid.
he's like guaranteed 100 yards every game. But I can't go against your faithful right here. We got Niner faithful up here. Also got the Packers representing, but obviously we're talking about running backs here. RB1 for me is Christian McCaffrey.
Okay.
I feel like I've been seeing in the usage as well since we have a week of sample size. I've noticed that Christian McCaffrey is getting the same sort of workload that he did when he was on the 2019 Panthers when he was finished RB1.
Interesting.
So I really see the path there. The only thing that's really going to stop him would be, his own body breaking down. But I just feel like that he's in a perfect position behind a great O-line with a great coach. I just feel like all the cards are in his favor to put out another really good season. Just moving on, to talk about receivers as well.
Yeah.
I wanted to get your take, right? So we've already seen a week into the season. We've seen some pretty big performances. We've seen some pretty big duds.
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to be the wide receiver one coming into this year?
I think I got to stay home to this and stay in the Bay. And are you kidding me? Because are you kidding me? Like that Brandon Ayuk's performance week 1. I know I'm not going to judge a book by its cover with week 1. But like everyone saw this, like coming into this year, Purdy last year coming in as like the third quarterback and just having a spark with Ayuk. Ayuk's a great route runner. I know like Salik's been, yelling about Ayuk like for years now. I think it can come to fruition for him being number one. I know number one's a bit of a stretch. I know it. But this is bold. I mean, we got to be a little bit bold, right? So I think Ayuk can take the number one spot. Worst case scenario, I think he can drop 5, 7, top 7 wide receivers. I think that's reasonable. But of course, me being a Niners fan, I'm more optimistic than most. So I think Ayuk can take that number one spot.
Yeah, I really can't argue with that. I feel like the path is there for him. People have always thought Debo is the better receiver, but to be fair, I think Ayuk is the better receiver on that team, the better route runner. So I really see the path there. You were being a little bold, so I think for me, I'm gonna have to be a little bold here with you. I'm thinking Amon-Ra St. Brown, the sun god, will be the wide receiver one this year. We got another guy who's like not the biggest guy.
Spicy. He's
a good route runner. Really good hands. He's Jared Goff's favorite target. Jameson Williams isn't in the picture. He's gonna get all the targets, and I just see the path for him to have the best season this year. There's no one stopping this guy. Like I just think he's insane.
Yeah. No, I think Sun God is that's really bold. Damn. Like that. That's processing in my head. I'm like, wow, Sun God wide receiver 1. Because we don't really like the perception of Sun God is like yards after catch. He's the yak guy, right? Like you dump it off to him in the flat and he just runs and barrels through defenders. And when we predict wide receiver 1s, it's like more so like deep throws and like catching sideline, toe tap, all that. And he's not that. I mean, he can do that, I'm sure, but he's more so like cash in the flat and go. So I think like that's a really good bold prediction. I feel like there's no competition, like you said, around him to like take the target, right? Like in traditional offenses, there's like at least 2-3 wide receivers, and there's like 30% share of like wide receiver targets. But like I honestly, like in terms of share, like target share, Jared Goff is only looking at him. And we got like a sneak peek of that Thursday night football game last week against the Chiefs. And like Jared Goff's go-to guy was Amon-Ra. And I think like even with the departure of TJ Hawk last year, it was like a great opportunity for Amon-Ra to step up and be that guy, because TJ Hawk was the guy there in the red zone at least, right?
Yeah.
He's a great red zone target. But now Amon-Ra is the red zone target as well, so I could see it. I like it. It's a good bold take. But speaking of TJ Hawk, actually, coming to Minnesota, I feel like he's in a position now where he's right behind Jay Jetta And of course, Justin Jefferson will, eat there. But we've had a small sample size with TJ Hawkinson. They played Thursday night, so yesterday, at the time we're filming this right now. And TJ Hawkinson exploded, and he did really well in week 1 as well. So I think TJ Hawkinson being number 1 tight end, I could put my money on that.
Wow, that's a big one. I feel like that's kind of loaded. Personally, I feel like there's just no way that you can really bet against Kelce. So I'm gonna bring this back a little bit because this is so loaded. I'm a little bit speechless here because this is the one position I feel like you can really predict the tight end. So I really like that you took the take of having TJ Hawkinson finishing as the tight end 1. Personally, I feel like you can't really bet against Kelce. People have been trying to do it for years.
Yeah.
And they've always been wrong.
This is the year that he'll mess up. That he'll suck.
And you're taking that risk this year. Yeah. I feel like there's a very high possibility, but I'm not going to be the one to do it and bet against him. So I'm going to say Travis Kelce will be the one that finishes. Even though he missed week 1, he's tied to the best quarterback.
That's fair.
And I don't know. I just can't do it personally.
Yeah.
We were talking about how these were a little bit bold. And our predictions were a bit bold. Another thing that we do in our league is we also compile all the bold predictions that come from all of our league mates. So we have 10 total. Mm-hmm. I'm going to quickly run through a few of them. I have noticed that a few of them are the same.
Sure.
So I'll list a few of them off to you, Waji, and then we can kind of discuss them and then see what we think about them. So we'll start with one of your takes, which was you said Luke Musgrave will be a top 7 tight end by year end. Let me keep going here because we have a few other takes that are related to tight ends as well.
Sure.
So Daniel also had another take. So keeping in mind yours, you mentioned Luke Musgrave as a top 7 tight end.
All right.
Daniel thinks there's going to be 3 rookie tight ends that finish in the top 20. I'll list them in a second here. And then the final one I want to mention, there's 2 more actually. So Amar and Ali Zedi also have tight end takes.
Okay.
Amar mentioned Darren Waller being a top 3 tight end.
All right.
And Ali Zedi mentioned TJ Hawkinson being a tight end 1. So we have quite a few tight end takes here, and we think the dynamic's going to change a little bit. So run me through it. Let's start with yours a little bit, with the Luke Musgrave one. What are you thinking here?
Sure. I think before jumping into Luke Musgrave, just tight ends as a whole, I think a lot of people have confidence in this year's tight end. I think there's a lot of rookies that are coming in that may prove themselves, and they're in good situations. And then all the other tight ends are also in good situations. Yeah. And towards the latter half of last year, tight ends were kind of popping off. So I feel like there's a lot of positive, thinking regarding tight ends this year. So I think that's where the bold predictions are coming from. In regards to my bold prediction, Luke Musgrave, you guys probably don't even know who this guy is, but he plays for the Packers. I feel like top 5 tight ends is a bit of a stretch. Top 10 tight ends, not really bold. So that's why I did the 7 number. I think Luke Musgrave can really be, very good this year. I'm blanking on guy's name. Who's the quarterback of the Packers?
It is Jordan Love.
Jordan Love, man. Okay, yeah. So Jordan Love,
new guy.
New guy. Yeah. I was gonna say Jordan something, but yeah, Jordan Love. He's balling. He was balling in training camp. He was balling last year. Now he's balling in week 1. So I feel like as a young quarterback, your safety valve is your tight end, and he's an athletic tight end at that. So I feel like that's why that was my bold prediction.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, segueing off what you kind of just said, there's a lot of new tight ends coming in, and there's a lot of takes on tight ends because I feel like this is one of those years where a lot of rookie tight ends are coming in that are going to be good, and they have really high expectations. And I think this will be the year that they actually produce. So just to give an example, I think there's been a few years previously where people thought the tight ends would be really good. For example, Noah Fancier, which was I think 2 years ago. I can't remember the other tight ends. And then Pitts, the year before that was Pitts. Yep. This year is the one where I can see with Daniel's bold take, he mentioned 3 finishing in the top
20.
Top 20. Yeah. The ones he mentioned were Dalton Kincaid, Sam Laporta, and Luke Musgrave, the one you just mentioned. Okay. I see a path for it, and I think, this may be the year, you never know. This may be the year that Kelce kind of moves out and we start seeing the next Kelce's and the next Andrews.
True. Yeah, I feel like in terms of tight ends, you got your rookies who will be really good. But I think to Amar's take, tried and tested is Darren Waller. I feel like he's been balling for the past couple years.
Mm.
He has had a health, issue of just like staying on the field, and that's why like I'm hesitant to agree with Amar. Amar's like top 3, and that's assuming Travis Kelce, let's say number 1, right? Number 2, maybe I don't know, George Kittle, someone at that number 2 spot, hopefully, and then number 3, is either fighting for Hawkinson or Darren Waller. I just don't see Daniel Dimes, getting the ball enough to him. But yeah, what do you think?
That's an interesting take. I feel like so you think the Giants overall won't be that good this year?
I mean, if I'm judging a book by its cover on week 1, I think they're not going to be good. But I think it's up from here for them for sure. But I don't love the Giants.
Okay, I feel like that's part of it. So I feel like I'm a little bit higher than you on the Giants.
Okay.
Which is why I feel like I'm okay with this take. Like I think Daniel Jones is capable enough to get the people that are good the ball. He'll make mistakes, he'll make turnovers, but that's irrelevant to the fantasy success of the 2 people that we're talking about,
True.
Saquon Barkley and Darren Waller. So I really see a path for that. We can kind of skip over this one because Ali Zedi mentioned the Hawkinson tight end one. I feel like we did a good job of covering that.
True.
We really agree with that take, and I feel like people were discounting him in the start of the season. So that bold take when we asked for it was actually very spot on. I think we both come to an agreement for it. Yeah. Just mentioning a couple others. This one's a kind of a funny one. Another one from Daniel. He mentioned that Raheem Mostert will actually be finishing as a top 12 running back this season.
We tried telling you, man. We tried telling you, bro. Everyone's like, dude, Mostert's not going to make it past like week 5.
Yeah.
This man is injured now.
And it's week 1.
Hilarious, bro. Like, I'm sorry. I hope your other bold prediction comes through. That's why we took 2 for Daniel, because we're like, bro, that's not a bold prediction. There's a difference between bold and there's a difference between just outright not smart.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's hilarious. But who knows? Maybe he comes back and at 33 years of age from injury and becomes a top 12, but it's highly unlikely.
Yeah. It's funny we laugh at this one. I'm looking at the list again.
Yeah.
And we have a really diehard New England Patriots fan among us. And one of the bold takes that we got from Ali R in this league was that Ezekiel Elliott is going to finish with 17 touchdowns this year. What are we thinking about that?
17.
So that's a touchdown a week. Just to put that in perspective.
He's a little bit behind. I think Zeke can score touchdowns, in this offense. 17 is a bit of a stretch. That would be like Jamal Williams-esque. I think last year Jamal Williams had 17, right?
He did.
That was the rushing leader.
Yeah.
Most ever, I think, in a season, something like that. So yeah, I think I don't agree with 17, but I do agree with the production of I think he can get in the end zone if Mac Jones can kind of pick himself up, and he had a solid week 1 outing. And then Ramondre Stevenson, of course, is also an obstacle of this bold prediction. But what do you think?
Yeah, dude. I'm honestly in the camp of Ezekiel Elliott is a washed running back.
That is super fair.
And, I just feel like he will have his touchdowns. This is, to be fair, this is a bold take, and it's coming from a Patriots fan.
Yeah.
So I totally get it. But, I think he's washed, and I think he'll get 5 this year. And that's just me being a hater, and I'm sorry if that's the case. But yeah, that was a good bold one. That one made me laugh, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I don't know where it'll go. We have a few more from a few of our other league members. We can mention Summy's next, which was George Pickens being a top 12 receiver. I kind of like this one. I'm curious to hear what your thought process is on this one before I kind of talk about it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think in terms of George Pickens, I think it's more true than ever now that he can at least be the wide receiver 1 in Pittsburgh. Let's forget about top 12 wide receiver for a second. Deontay Johnson's injured, right? Hamstring pull.
Right.
So he is the next man up. I think Deontay Johnson was the target hog there, and now that he's out, George Pickens will hopefully eat. I feel like he has a lot of spectacular catches, but now he's just gotta turn that into production. It really rests on Kenny Pickett though. I think George Pickens has the talent to be top 12 wide receiver, but I don't see him getting there because his production is very much so dependent on Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett looked awful week 1. I know he got a lot of preseason hype, but you never buy into preseason hype, and this is why.
Yeah, I mean, I will be fair to Pittsburgh. The Niners are no joke.
Yeah.
That defense is unstoppable, and I feel like they just completely destroyed and game planned the hell out of Kenny Pickett, knowing that he's inexperienced and incapable.
Yeah.
You know, I agree with you. Like, we had to worry about him becoming the wide receiver 1 for the Pittsburgh Steelers first, and I feel like that's very much attainable now, especially with Deontay Johnson's injury. And I feel like even before that, I think he would have surpassed him.
Yeah.
I can see the path for it maybe in a couple years, but you know, I still think this is very bold, and we need to see a huge step from both him and Pickett.
Yeah.
We got 2 more that I wanted to quickly mention, just to speed things up a little bit. So we have for Hans, we kind of forgot to mention this one. This one was also another tight end take.
Okay.
He thinks that David Njoku will be among the top 3 tight ends this year, and I feel like
kind of forgot about that.
Yeah, it's funny that we forgot to even mention for Hans' take, and we forgot about David Njoku himself in general, right?
True.
I feel like he's a really good. He's tied to, you know, like a kind of shady person, but that's besides the point. But he's really good, and he's underrated, and it clearly shows with us forgetting about him. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think underrated is like you hit the nail on the head there. He's athletic as hell, man. And I think like with Deshaun Watson rolling out because he loves to roll to left or right, that's where you find your tight ends a lot of the times. We see these quarterbacks just flip it to their tight ends in the end zone. So I think, like I mentioned, kind of Nick Chubb's case of being running back 1 and all the weapons that they have, and I forgot about David Njoku. So, yeah, I think he's an underrated tight end. Top 3, I like it, yeah.
Yeah. I got to agree. I'm kind of surprised you forgot about him. And then just going into the last one here, Abbas Zaidi didn't really give a bold prediction, but I guess it is bold. He said, and I quote, "I go back to back." Now,
damn.
That's putting out a statement. We gave him his flowers earlier in this podcast. You know, let's see what happens. He drafted it. You know, the draft was a little sketchy here with some of his picks.
Sorry about
But let's see what happens. Wajid, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think like his draft was a little bit suspect. He reached on a lot of players. But who knows, bro? Like, a lot of people trade with Abbas, and they think that, like, they're stealing him. But he actually gets, like, the better person. Like, for example, I got Travis Etienne for him, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'll give you a backup running back, Tony Pollard. But Tony Pollard goes off, bro. So that's hilarious, man. But, yeah, just kind of moving on here. You know, I know this is a longer podcast. I know we usually, like, stick to 15, 20 minutes, but we wanted to keep this, you know, have a lot of content to talk about in this first episode. And we're in the 6th studio right now, so we just want to take advantage. We're having fun, bro.
Yeah.
But Super Bowl picks, you know, kind of not more so going fantasy, but like real NFL football. In terms of football and Super Bowl kind of best teams, what are you thinking of? Actually, so give me your teams, and then give me the score, and then let's do MVP.
Okay. That's a good point. Super Bowl, that's a very tough one. I mean, especially early in the season.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a huge Packers fan coming out of the NFC, but unfortunately, we're quite a few years away. So if I had to think about this, I would probably say my NFC team coming out would be the Niners. I've been high on this AFC team, and I've been mentioning them throughout this podcast. I'm going to say the Jags are going to be the ones that come out from from the AFC. I could see the path. Hey, let's see in 6 months from now when we're talking about it, right?
Okay.
We'll see where we're at. But I think the score will be 34-20.
Okay. Who's winning?
We're going to have the Niners winning that, yeah.
Okay.
I think the Niners are too stacked, and if Brock Purdy takes even one tiny step forward, which it already seems like he kind of has, I can really see it happening, which, I mean, segueing over to the Super Bowl MVP, I'm going to have to go with Brock Purdy. I think he can put up a huge stat line in a Super Bowl game and actually take them to the championship, which he was going to do last year, but, you know, I mean, circumstances didn't work out.
I really like that. Yeah, that's a great pick. I think, Jags going to the Super Bowl is honestly a great prediction. I think they could very much so do it. They could win their division. They could have a first round bye, and then from there it's like you know, pretty much just taking down either whoever makes it to the AFC Championship, which is Chiefs,
Bengals,
Bills,
Chiefs,
and Bengals. Yeah. So if they can get that past that one game, I can definitely see them going to the Super Bowl. In terms of Niners, I think I'm gonna take a similar take. I'm gonna go with the Niners. I'm gonna go Niners to the Super Bowl. And then in terms of the AFC, I like the Bengals. We saw this last year. We saw this story of them starting slow. Everyone's like, oh my God, they look terrible. What's Joe Burrow doing? What's Jamar Chase doing? Now we said that week one for, all their skill players, but I think they're just like a slow start team. I think the Bengals can pick it up. Joe Burrow just has that dog in him, bro. Like, I just love Joe Burrow. I think he can go to the AFC Championship, and that's where I kind of hesitate, because AFC Championship, anything can happen there, and we've seen battles, best games like of the year in those AFC Championship games. So it'll be interesting to see. Maybe it'll be down to our predictions of Bengals and Jags, and we'll see who comes triumphant. But
so what are you thinking of score and Super Bowl MVP pick as well?
Okay, so Bengals and Niners. That's a classic one.
Yeah.
They played, I think, in the 90s or something like that. So
your dad can tell us about that game. Yeah.
Pops can tell us about that one. I think Niners are gonna win. I think they're just too overpowered. Like, if you look on paper, barring any injury, of course, like they're too stacked.
Yeah.
I think the MVP would probably be Christian McCaffrey. I'm gonna go not Brock Purdy. I think
like that pick.
Christian McCaffrey will just run over any defense, and then get a receiving touchdown, get a rushing touchdown, and then he'll be crowned MVP of the Super Bowl. So inshallah that happens.
Inshallah.
But that wraps up kind of all we wanted to talk about. Again, we thank you for tuning in. I know this is a little bit longer podcast. To our league mates, welcome to the ride. To the people that are watching at home, I know we have like only 50 views on this on these videos and on this channel, but that means there are the public watching out there. So if you are watching, thank you for tuning in. Any closing remarks?
No, you did a great job. Thank you again for everyone for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.
Awesome. Peace. See ya.